This is your video on spinning, flipping, sliding practice section. I know it's late. It's about 7. By the time I load this up on YouTube, it's probably be about 7:45 p.m. So some of you might not get to watch it, and that's okay. But I just wanted to put it out there to show you what you should be looking forward to in these videos. So let me get to the practice, which is not here. Where's the practice? Here's the practice. Okay. And then let me do that because it allows me to write. All right, here we go. So just a little summary. We talked about rotations, reflections, and translation. So I want to show you. Let me go back here actually. Let me take a shape. This one. Right? And let me show you what happens in a translation. So translation, moving side, left to right, right to left, up and down. That's a translation. That's it. In a rotation, it means I'll take this and let me draw a fixed point. So let's say I want to say, let's rotate around this fixed point, right? So let's rotate that triangle around the fixed point, and we're going to move, rotates around the fixed point. So that's easier said. So rotate and then move. Now that's not working, but it's going to rotate in this direction. So if I had, better yet, if I had a fixed point, and let's say I had an arrow here, right? As it rotates, and we can go clockwise or counterclockwise, this would rotate, right? Around this fixed point. We'll make it better, right? And that, imagine it's a pencil, and be rotating, 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 etc. Okay, so that's a rotation. The reflection, I want you to think about this for a second. This is a reflection. And where's my line of reflection here? Where's this my line? Here's my line of reflection, right here. Right? So this mountain reflected on this line of reflection. Look at where the peak of the mountain is, and the peak of the mountain on its reflection. Okay. Let me show you a better example. Here. Reflections. You can have a reflection like this, right, where the line reflection is this line right here. Horizontal reflection. So if I imagine if I were to fold this paper, right, this top here and this top would meet. If I were to fold this paper hot dog way, right, when you fold it, right, you notice that this and this would match exactly. Here, the line reflection is not a horizontal or vertical line, but it's a diagonal line, right? So on all these, again, another vertical line of reflection, another horizontal, and if I were to fold this paper, this tip of the triangle would match with that tip of the triangle. Okay. So going back to our here, a rotation turns or spins a figure around a fixed point. A reflection flips or mirrors a figure over a line by moving every point to a point directly on the opposite side of the line. And a translation slides a figure without turning it. Okay, so 2. Let's talk about this for a second. There are 5 frames, and I'm going to cut these frames into quarters here. Right. So here's that box, and I'm going to break it into 4 parts. So frame 1, you see this shape, right? It's in this corner right here. I'll put an X. And it's going to frame 2, and it's going here. Notice that the shape is exactly, it's facing up, right? So pretend this is Pac-Man. His mouth is open going that way. Here it's also going that way. So it hasn't flipped. Sorry, it hasn't rotated, right? Notice that there's no rotation. So this is simply, it's going from here to here. It's just simply a slide, or better yet, translation to the right, or slide to the right. Let's look at what do you call, from 2 to 3. How does, from 2 to 3, notice that it definitely, there's a little rotation. Okay, so here, if you look at Pac-Man over here, his mouth is pointing up. It is now pointing this way. Right, so he's still in the same corner, the top right-hand corner, but his mouth is facing to the right. So definitely a little turn. So we can say turn clockwise, or better yet, rotation clockwise. Okay. From 3 to 4, so let's see what happens with 3 to 4. From 3 to 4, the mouth of Pac-Man here is still aiming that way, and 4 is still aiming that way. So he went from here. Right, he went from here to here. All right, so he just simply went down, so we can say slide down. Okay. And on the last one here, notice that Pac-Man is facing this way. Now Pac-Man is facing this way. He's still at the bottom right-hand corner. So this one, we can say that he just, what's the word I'm looking for? Reflection. Okay, flipped. Okay. All right, so determine whether the transformation shows a translation, reflection, or rotation. It's going from, ladies and gentlemen, notice that the shape, the figure is still pointing, right? It's still in the same direction. The direction hasn't changed. It simply went, we can say that it moved up, and then it went to the right. So it's a translation, up and to the right. Okay. This one. Where's my pen? So this one here. So imagine an arrow that's pointing up. It's now pointing to the right. So how did that arrow, right? And here I'll put the arrow here like this. And now it's pointing that way. So how did the arrow go from there to there? Well, it rotated, right? Started rotating until it got to its second position. So this is definitely a rotation. So this figure rotated that way. And if you want to be more specific, you can say rotated clockwise. Five. Oops. Okay, this one. Actually, this one, I couldn't see it. It took me a few moments to see it. And hopefully, it doesn't take it that long. Well, if you think about it, here's my spray bottle. Remember the spray bottle I said? It's spraying this way. So if I rotate this, the spray bottle, if you rotate this shape, if I could manage to rotate this shape, let's see if I can actually do this. Let's see if I can rotate it. Make the shape. So, and if I can rotate this, and I'm going to paint the, see if I can rotate. So if I can rotate this, I think you'll see it. If I rotate this, notice that that shape will never, ever become that shape. There's no way. Look, even at this position, they're not the same, right? So it's not a rotation. So if I rotate this, right, and even, let's face it, rotate it the other way, counterclockwise. I get there, I get there, I get there. It's never going to be in the same position as this one. So it's definitely not a rotation. Is it a translation? Is there a way of me moving this guy up or down? Remember what translation are, right? We're not changing directions. So can I take this guy, move it up, move it down, move it left, move it right, right? Can, by doing those, a slide to the left, a slide to the right, or a slide up or down, can I get this shape here to turn into this one? No, I can't. So it's not a rotation, and it's not a translation. So now it leaves me with a reflection. Well, let me just, so reflection, where's my mirror? Right, so where's my line reflection? The line reflection is right here. So if I could take this, and I don't know how to show it to you here, right, and fold this paper, right, fold it that way, right, this and this would meet. Notice that in the reflection, every single point is the same distance away from the line reflection. So look at this distance here and this distance here. They're the same. Look at this. Look at this distance. So you can pick any point. Look at this point here and this point here. Now, go stand in front of a mirror, and you'll notice that if you take a step back and step back, your image in the mirror takes a step back, right? So the distance between you and the mirror and your image to the mirror is always going to be the same. So this, although not too obvious from the beginning, was a reflection, a diagonal reflection, if you want to call it again. All right, 6. Well, this one actually, it's not that bad. It's not a, well, what can we eliminate? Can we eliminate translation? Yes, we can, right? You can hopefully see that there's no way of sliding this guy here. And I'll draw it again. There's no way of sliding this guy. How can I slide this guy left and right or up and down, and it all of a sudden, think of Pac-Man. Pac-Man is facing the other way, right? His mouth is facing the other, so it's not a slide. It's a rotation. Well, let's rotate this guy. Could it be a rotation? And we'll talk about that a little bit more because I want to talk about rotation over fixed point, which I'm unable to show it here. Okay, but it's not a rotation. Rather, it's a reflection. And again, think about your line of reflection. Here's your line of reflection. Here's your mirror. Here's you standing in front of the mirror. Pick a side. Right? Here's your eyes, your belly, your foot, Notice that the distance between each of these points to the mirror is the same. Okay, the back of your head, right? So it's definitely a reflection. 7. Ugh. I'm not going to say that word. It's a tube with mirrors and colored glass inside. When you point it toward the light, you look through it. As you turn it, you can see patterns. So analyze the design and describe how the pattern could be created using reflections, rotations, or translations. So I'm going to say here, what's happening to me as I see it is objects that, let's take this shape here. What's happening to this shape? Well, you can say it's being rotated, right? The shape rotated to this position, then to this position, then to this position, and it keeps rotating. So, in this particular kaleidoscope, right, each of these figures are being rotated, and again, around a fixed point right here. So this is a better example. So it's a rotation around a fixed point. So here's the point in the middle, and everybody rotates around this blue dot. And that's what I would say. 8. Ugh, what is this? Again, is it a translation? So how can we describe this? What's happening here? I can say Here's a center point. Can we say that this shape here that looks like a mask is being rotated? Can we say that's being rotated? It can. So we can say that one of the shapes is being rotated. This circle is also being rotated about a fixed point, right? Think about that. What else can we say is happening here? Well, what about a translation? Can I say, I don't, does this look like this circle over here can be translated or slide up, straight up? Does it look like it's straight up? So we can say that those two. There's a little translation there. Ooh, how about this one? Can we say that there is a mirror right there? Right? And then if you were to fold the paper horizontally, is that a line reflection? Does this and this are mirror images of each other? Is this face over here a mirror image of this guy here? And all the other parts. So we can say that there is a horizontal reflection here. And can we say that there's a vertical reflection, line of reflection as well? Can we say that there is this guy over here? Right? Can we say it's a line reflection? Looks like it, right? So you can write all that. 9. I don't know what this is. Maybe a little. Oh, it says spiral. Okay. But you remembering the rules of multiplying and dividing integers. So multiplying and dividing is not the issue here. Is do you remember what happens when multiplying two negative numbers? So negative times a negative, the answer would be positive. 5 times 2.4. Sorry. 5 times 2.4, and you can use a calculator, positive 12. So it's a negative divided by a positive. So a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 7.4 divided by 10 is just 0.74. Negative. It's a negative divided by a negative, so that's going to give me a positive answer, right? And 4 over 7. Division is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. What happened to my pen? Oh no. Sorry guys, something happened to my pen. Here we go. 4 over 7. Negative 4 over 7. Divided by, or times, I should say, the reciprocal of negative 2, which is 1 over 2 negative. That's going to give me positive. 4 times 1 is 4. 7 times 2 is 14. I could have simplified before, but it's just, nevertheless, the same answer. 2 over 7. 4 times negative 3.8 is a positive times a negative, which gives me a negative. 4 times negative 3 over 8. Let's simplify here. 4 divided by 4 is 1, 8 divided by 4 is 2, and the answer is negative 3 over 2, or 1.5, whichever one you choose. That's just a little spiral review. Anything else? That you get to feel by yourself. So that's probably what some of the videos are going to look like, if it's based on Amplify. Okay. And then I post it to Google Classroom, and you get to watch it, hopefully earlier than 7:30 in the evening. Okay. And that's that.